Booyaka, booyaka! It's been a while. Welcome, peeps. Today I will be telling you the secrets of how to keg a beer, homebrew style. First thing, you gotta soak everything from your keg, disconnect these posts, fill it up with some brewery cleaner, the kind of stuff that will eat through any organic matter. Soak it for about an hour. Then you gotta clean out these long dip tubes, piece of string. If you take a piece of string and a stick and you just stuck it through there, you can get all the grime off these dip tubes. Then you need to take some boiling water. After you've cleaned it nicely with some sanitizer, take some boiling water. Be very careful, obviously boiling water is deadly in a keg. Throw the boiling water in there, close it up, shake it around, and then let it out carefully. That is to remove any potential oxygen you might have inside the keg from your sanitizer. The next step is the slow CO2 flush. So, connect your CO2 to a liquid post, so it starts at the bottom, and then fill that puppy up. Get it nice in there. Oh yeah, fill it up. Get it nice and full. What you're gonna do next is you're gonna get a tube that is gonna connect to the gas line. And from the gas line, it's gonna end up in the keg here, so that you're pushing CO2 into the bottom of the keg and then slowly breathing it out through the top of the keg. Now let's get this going. Okay, so we've got around 1 bar going into the keg over here, going through this little tube into the liquid post right to the bottom. Then I've just got a gas connect, nothing on the end, and I'm gonna start just slowly flushing out the air that's on top, letting more air get into the bottom. You can see it filling up, and that's just to get the air slowly filling up from the bottom, all the CO2, so that we've got a lot of CO2 in the keg. Do that a couple of times, and then the next step is we start the slow bleed. Now for the slow bleed, you want to turn this pressure right down. Oh man, hold on, it's not going down. Oh, let's just see what's happening here. Go down pressure, doesn't want to go down right now. Anyway, could be something wrong with the regulator here. Strange, doesn't want to go down too much. Okay, but it's going down, Now we open up the other end. Now we get it up to a very small amount, just a trickle. And we leave it trickling into the keg and out through this tube for a period of time. Almost no gas. We need it to be like almost nothing. Just a trickle. There we go. And now you can see it's going into the bottom of the keg, slowly filling it up, and then coming out the top. This is to get rid of every little bit of air in the keg, and then make sure that there's just CO2 in the keg. What you can do is sniff this that end there. Make sure it's pure CO2. Alrighty. Then we get to the next step, where we flush the inlet pipe. So this puppy has now been going for about 4 minutes. You can see I've made a little airlock there. The next step is we're going to check that the beer hasn't got too much hops in it. We'll just give this a little pour out of the tap. Let's see. It looks pretty clear. Beer looks pretty clear. Let's have a look at this beer here. Yeah, that's a good beer. This is especially important for hoppy beers because the hops absolutely gets wrecked by oxygen. Okay, so next thing we're going to do, disconnect the gas. Allow a little bit more pressure in there. Let a little bit more pressure in, just to pressurize the keg a little bit, not too much, just a little bit. Then we're going to disconnect this guy. Okay, we'll turn that off. This thing is not airtight, the liquid disconnect. Next step, we are going to put a tube on the gas going into the, we're going to have that ready when we're ready to fill our keg. And now we've got our inlet valve. Inlet valve is going to go onto the liquid post. And this is the tricky bit. It's going to let some CO2 start coming out through the tube, and we're going to actually try and bleed it out slowly so that by the time we connect this to by the time we connect this little guy to the tap, it's going to be perfectly bled out and it's going to be full of CO2. So let's see how well this goes. This is the tricky part. Squeeze this end here. Here comes the CO2, bleeding it out, filling up the thing, and then as it's ready, attach. Now we should have CO2 everywhere in the system, even in the nozzle. And we are ready to rock and roll. So there we go, flushed, attached, got the pipe going into the liquid. Now we're going to attach the little airlock, and we're going to start to pour the beer. Nice and slowly. There it goes. We're going to disconnect the top thing here, just slowly. Make sure don't disturb it too much. There we go. And now it's flowing beautifully into the keg. And that keg should be free of any air. And there it comes. And that is how you keg a beer at home. Booyakasha!